Thank you all so much. Thank you very much. We got fighters in the great state of Texas. And this Florida man sure is happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with my beautiful wife, Ginger. And I want to tell you something. Marriage is a great thing. And I feel like an expert on it. I've just celebrated my 1-year anniversary. And you know, while I was very blessed, my parents were married, have been married now for my whole life. Well, that's not true for everybody. I heard a lot of negativity about marriage growing up. People saying, oh, the ball and chain. God, I get a hall pass to go to my fantasy football draft. But what I have experienced is that there is a way to level up in life when you form a bond that is bigger and greater and gives you a sense of purpose and meaning. And so know that as you venture out into the world, matrimony is a great thing and can make us all far better human beings. I'm proud to be from the state of Florida. When I was in the legislature there, we had the Rick governors, Rick Perry in Texas, Rick Scott in Florida, and we all had Texas envy in Florida because we were second in everything. Texas had the lowest unemployment, had the best job creation, roaring natural resources economy. And now I get to brag about a very new special Florida business. You know, we got a little edge in Florida now, and I don't know if you've heard, but the newest business in Florida is now DeSantis Airlines with one-way tickets straight to Martha's Vineyard. Oh, I love this so much. I love everything about it. I thought it was great when Abbott did it to D.C., but it is just so precious. And you saw the Karens of Martha's Vineyard come out with the big tears. We can't do this. We can't accommodate 50 people. We don't have the resources. The island has been invaded. And in less than 48 hours, those people were on a flight out to Joint Base Cape Cod. Well, you know what? The American elites have no problem when Joe Biden has buses and planes dropping off illegal immigrants in all of the towns and cities in which we live. And I think the American elites ought to feel the pain from the decisions that they are trying to force on the rest of us. My friends, while we are certainly proud of the work we did under President Trump to build nearly 500 miles of wall, we have to do so much more when we have the levers of power again. It won't be enough just to finish the wall. Joe Biden has let millions of people into our country illegally, and it's my belief that we ought to use the best made-in-America technology to round them up like they were at the Capitol on January 6th and send them on a one-way ticket back home to Guatemala City. We've all heard of MS-13, but now you've got the MV-13, and I think it is a valuable lesson for all of us. People don't know this, but in Congress, I actually have the office that was previously occupied by Texan Beto O'Rourke. We find boxes of soy everywhere still, in all of the desks and in all of the cabinets. Do not let this man anywhere near the governor's mansion. You will be finding boxes of soy for a generation there in the state of Texas. But do not let Beto take your guns. Do not let Beto take your freedom. And do not let the radical left take the great state of Texas. There are many different features of the conservative movement. And some of you gathered here today may represent some of the disparate groups that come together under the conservative banner. But if it's all the same to you, I don't want to go back to the days of the Romneys and the McCains and the establishment. This is Donald Trump's party. We are an America First movement, and I am here looking for some America First fighters. We have to be a fighting party again, and I do believe with the political winds swirling, we will be given the opportunity to control some of those levers of power in the House of Representatives. And I don't want to go back to saying, oh, let's just hold hands in the warm spring rain with the Democrats. Let's let Adam Schiff serve on committees. Let's let Maxine Waters hold these high and mighty titles in the Congress. No, we need to fight fire with fire. I know we're in a church today, but sometimes I'm not the turn the other cheek kind of guy. In Washington, sometimes it has to be a little Old Testament justice and a little eye for an eye when taking on these folks who would do so much damage to our great nation. Every single committee in the Congress should be converted to an oversight committee, and we should connect the corruption and the flawed decision-making of so many of these Biden administration officials directly to the pain that the American people are feeling at the gas pump, at the grocery store, and as we see ourselves, observing a country in decline just because we have a president in decline. I don't think we should have to join Joe Biden in a state of constant decline. I think that we are an ambitious and strong country, and we can get back to those very roots and get back to winning again. And so if what I am going to do in Congress is say jettison the seniority system that just lets the people who've been there the longest run the place, and actually put people like Lauren Boebert and Jim Jordan and Thomas Massie into the leadership ranks of our body. And here's what I need from you. I need you to evaluate your own personal skill stack as an operative. If you're here with me on a Saturday evening, it is because you care, and it is because you know the fight we are in. You know the chapter of the movie that this is. I mean, we're now in a country where we see grandmothers robbed in broad daylight in our major cities, and they are raiding the home of the former president of the United States. You used to only see this in the poorest third world countries on the planet Earth, the despots. And now we see it in the country that we deeply love so much. And so if you're a digital warrior, get better at it. If you make phone calls and knock on doors, become more efficient, become an organizer and an activist. If you have the ability to write speeches, help us tell stories. You know, this Gen Z generation, you are the most socially interconnected generation in all of human history. And it poses this tremendous opportunity for you to be able to make the gripping moments and tell the persuasive stories to get people on our side who absolutely belong with us in our movement. And the Gen Z folks that we have here with us today, you have skills that frankly some of the boomers do not. You know, you can go knock on 200 doors on a Saturday. You can edit video. You can open and unlock an iPhone. That can be very difficult for others, especially in Congress. I'm just glad to be in a room where I'm one of the oldest people, because in the United States Congress today, we have the highest percentage of members of Congress over the age of 70 than at any other time in our history by a factor of 3. And increasingly, the people making the decisions know that they're not going to be around to live with the consequences of those decisions. And that's why these powerful moments, like at this summit, give us the chance to recruit those next leaders, but that means you have to look at your skill stack. What's the thing you do best, and how do you make it elite? How do you become someone that we absolutely need in the fight to provide that service or that talent? And then what is it that you do worse? Where is there a weakness where you can put yourself in an uncomfortable situation to get better? Maybe you're not a public speaker by nature, but you know what? Start speaking out among your friend group, at your church group, with the people that you're able to influence. Every person here can be an influencer for our cause if you have the confidence to put yourself in that uncomfortable position. You know, I mean, we think about Paul, apostle, it ain't easy. You think Paul was comfortable as he was sharing the gospel, as he was going out and telling people about the word of God and about the life of Jesus Christ? Absolutely not. But Paul knew that sometimes you got to do things that are uncomfortable. You got to put yourself in those tough positions, and you've got to rise to the moment for the sake of your country, because that is what patriots do. The other thing is we can't be angry all the time. Does it ever strike you that the left is just so utterly angry about everything? Oh my gosh, they want to cancel us online. They want to hunt us in real life. They always have that sourpuss face that I see on Liz Cheney's face all the time. It is joyless. It is utterly joyless. And if we want to bring people into our movement, and we must be a growing movement and a thriving movement to be successful, we have to show that there is happiness here and there is progress. And I miss so greatly those days when Donald Trump was the leader of our nation and he willed this country to success. He would not allow American innovation and manufacturing to fail. He ensured that we were a proud nation abroad, but that we were a smart nation, that we were not dead money at the global deal table, that people didn't take advantage of us to be the world's police force or the world's piggy bank. And Donald Trump unapologetically said that our leaders have a moral obligation to put the people of this country first, not to borrow money from one country to give it to another to act like that makes us stronger. And so be that shining light. Be that shining light like you are in your faith, in your politics, and let people know that if they are a part of this, they can be a part of an American story that advances the cause of our people, our nation, our values, and our principles. There is no greater sign of American strength than our military families and those veterans who have served our great country. In my district over in the Florida Panhandle, which is where all y'all go to vacation, right down the road on I-10, I have the great privilege of representing the highest concentration of active duty military and veterans in the country. Military families are not just a feature of my community, they are the defining characteristic. Obama tried to destroy our military by depriving it of resources. No body armor, no capabilities, and we saw how our adversaries advanced. But what Joe Biden is doing may be even worse, because he is trying to destroy our military with wokeism, by purging our patriots. And if you don't mind me saying so, Lloyd Austin, the current Secretary of Defense, is possibly the dumbest person to ever have served in the position of Secretary of Defense. He has failed up his entire career. The first thing he did was a stand down in our military so that everyone could reflect on their white supremacy and on their privilege and on their white rage. My friends, white supremacy is not the problem with our military. Wokeism with the grifter generals at the Pentagon is the problem with the military. And when we take control of the Congress, I'm going to have them giving testimony and answering for any circumstance where they push critical race theory or socialism or anti-American values at our military academies, at our National Defense University, or in any of our training. It boils my blood when I hear that our patriots are not able to go out and do live fire training and important munitions testing because they're too busy in lectures about pronouns in our military. You think the Chinese are sitting around worrying about their pronouns? You think the Russians are wringing their hands and wetting the bed over white rage? No, they are becoming more capable. And that used to be the hallmark of the leaders in both parties who stood up for our military, and we must get back to that again. And with this mandate, this vax mandate that's driven out all these great service members, it is not enough for Republicans to just repeal the vax mandate. We must restore every one of those great heroes to their full rank with back pay and reparations. We care about this because we fight for our people, and we know that those military families are our people. They're part of our great American tribe that knows no color, no creed. We are unified by the fact that we are fellow Americans. But I've served with a lot of leaders in Congress who don't stand up for their tribe, who don't care for their people, who don't engage in the battles necessary to ensure that life is livable in this country. And just one example I want to give you is the chairman of the January 6th committee, Benny Thompson. So there's this group called the Republic of New Africa, and they're in the Midwest, and their goal is to create a black ethno-state that nobody other than black people are allowed to live in like the 1970s. And they decide to make their home in a tiny little town in Mississippi. And the alderman in that town who stands up for them and says, well, they have a right to express these views and to pursue this shape of politics, was Benny Thompson, the person who's in Congress right now. Matter of fact, the guy who relocated this black ethno-nationalist group, this racist group, to Mississippi, his name was Chokwe Lumumba. And Benny Thompson endorsed that guy, endorsed his politics and his thinking. And then, guess who's the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi right now when they can't drink the water? Chokwe Lumumba Jr., the guy's son. And so here you have grifter, corrupt, crony politics resulting in a leader like Benny Thompson who wants to go and terrorize patriots, good Americans like Steve Bannon and Mark Meadows, who are part of the intellectual architecture of our movement. He goes and does all that, and the people in his own district, in his own state, can't drink the water, can't take a shower. You should judge leaders harshly who do not stand up for their people and those they serve. And Benny Thompson deserves the harshest judgment of all for what's currently happening in Jackson, Mississippi, because he helped cause it. I have been traveling the country giving these remarks and encouraging patriots because we need all of you. You know, while America First is ascendant out in the great towns and cities of our lands, I will confess to you that there is an establishment trying to reconstitute its power inside the beltway of Washington, D.C. They think that this America First movement, this Trump presidency, it was an aberration. It was just something we had to get out of our system. And the uni-party, made up of Republicans and Democrats, people like Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell, they want the power again so that they are able to deprive the American people of the agency and the liberty and the opportunity that is our God-given constitutional right in this land. And so as they are doing that, it is easy to have despair. It is easy to think that we're hopeless, that look at what they've already done. They've weaponized every agency of government. They're tearing apart our military. They're treating our border and our border states like a massive turnstile. Can we even get it back? And here's what I know. There are more of us than there are of them. And they know that, and they're very afraid of it, and they should be. And so if we don't self-cancel, if we don't turn down the volume, if we don't wave our MAGA flag at half-mast anymore, then I know we could continue to send that message. Times were tough during the Obama years too. I know a lot of you remember that. We were told that our economy could never grow, that our military could never win, that we just had to be engaged in these forever wars, that we had to be engaged in economic doldrums, that intellectual property and capital would just be overseas, that we would have to live with that it would never come back to fund the wages and dreams and ambitions of our fellow Americans. And then I saw the way President Trump absolutely activated a patriotic energy within this great land. And I know that after the art of the deal is always the art of the comeback. And so do everything you can to grow your skills, to get in this fight, to back the fighters that you care about, and to stand with the causes that you believe in. Because if we fail, there is no distant land to run to. There is no foreign place to ultimately to convert to our needs. America is not just an idea or a constitution. America is a people, and America is our home. I hope you'll fight with me to defend our home and to get victories again for the greatest country that has ever existed in all of human history. Thank you for being in the fight. Thank you for having my back, and let's go get them.